battle for New Jersey's Republican soul in 2025. Hello, everybody. This is Scott Loia, your incorrigible host. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the podcast. Today, look, GOP primary is heating up here in New Jersey. We got two candidates. We got Jack Ciattarelli. We got Bill Spadea. We're looking to see who's going to be the one to be our leader, to lead the Republican Party to the November general election. We need to get this thing done. We need to flip this state red. We were going to Ciattarelli's events. We were going to Bill Spadea's events. Everybody's very charged up. We got some of the voter takes, and we got an exclusive sit-down one-on-one with Bill Spadea. Before we dive in, please drop a comment. Let us know who your pick is. If you've been following the election, if you haven't been following the election, maybe you just saw it on TV or here, who are you leaning towards? Tell us what's going on in your brain. Are you in Jack's camp? Or are you in Bill Spadea's camp? Drop a comment below. Let us know. Tell us why. We'd really like to hear from you. And before we get started with the show, again, I'm going to plug the merch. I want to thank everybody who's supporting us. We're getting some great feedback. Support the show. ScottLoia.com. We got this shirt and we got the Leave the Woke Behind. You guys know it already. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. It means a whole lot to us. It really does. And this is how we keep it going. So keep that going for me. Thank you. So we attended a few of the rallies and a few of the private events between Jack and Bill Spadea. For those of you who are not really familiar with the candidates, Jack Ciattarelli, basically the political pro, former New Jersey State Assemblyman. He served there for about 6 years. He has run for governor before. He nearly unseated Phil Murphy in 2021. He's basically a CPA with an MBA from Seton Hall. He built a successful medical publishing business, seen as an experienced, but more the establishment type is what the Bill Spadea voters are saying about Jack Ciattarelli. They don't believe that he's conservative enough for them. They're saying that he's the moderate and that he is the establishment.
And right now, our state is broken in a number of ways. People are fearful, anxious about a number of things. Getting the proper education, job of their dreams, starting a family, starting a business, retiring here. These are all the things that people are anxious, if not fearful about today. We can fix that. Leadership matters.
So the way we unite the party is through action. On day one when I win this primary on June 10th, on the 11th, I am not having a unity breakfast with a bunch of insiders. I'm going to put the call out to every single Republican local candidate that won on June 10th and say, what do you need from our organization to win in the general? That's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to do it.
On the other hand, we have Bill Spadea, the populist outsider, former New Jersey talk show host on 101.5 on the radio. No prior political office, but he is an entrepreneur. He's a real estate investor, and he did quit his radio show to run full-time in this campaign for governor of New Jersey. He's leaning hard into the grassroots populism, and he has labeled himself as the anti-establishment candidate. Now, the Jack voters, the Jack supporters, they're saying that Bill Spadea, he's too conservative. He's off the rails, that he's not going to be able to bring people together. They're saying that he's just a radio show guy, that he has no political experience, no business being in the political arena. He's never held office before, and he's not going to be able to bring the establishment politicians in Trenton together and make deals. Two totally different approaches, two totally different candidates, one seasoned, one raw and direct, but both aiming for the same seat, both aiming to take the lead in the Republican Party to lead us to November as the gubernatorial candidate for New Jersey. So we want to show you what some of the voters had to say from Jack's camp. We want to show you what some of the voters had to say from Bill's camp. You're going to get to hear their take, why they're supporting their candidate, and maybe why they didn't support the other.
Why are you supporting Bill Spadea?
Because it's the obvious reason. I mean, he was going to fix New Jersey, with all the issues that we're having. He's got an answer for everything.
Why I'm supporting Jack? Oh, you know what? The reasons are so many. It's tough to put into a few moments and sentences. The fact that he's got the experience, he's got the business background.
So you're here to support Bill?
That's correct, yep.
What do you like about it?
So Bill, he's an honest guy. Met him and his wife Jody at an event in Westwood. They're just, Bill's a really straight up guy. He means it. Usually within 5 minutes you kind of get a gauge of what people are coming from. Bill Spadea is the real deal. So when I talked to him, I was like, okay, he really cares about the people in New Jersey and feel really good about backing him.
It's going to make New Jersey great again.
But we're tired.
You're supporting.
Yes.
Jack Ciattarelli for governor.
Why?
Because he is the only one that will beat the Democrats.
The only one?
The
No,
only
none of the others have a chance?
None of the others have a chance.
How much did the Trump endorsement sway your decision?
Well, I'm a big supporter of Trump, but that isn't what swayed me.
Because
Number one, he's a Trump supporter, so that's important.
So the endorsement helped?
Absolutely.
Right, but he did distance himself a little bit last time in 2021.
I know, but now I've been getting these in the mail, so
Now you got it. So you're on the Trump train.
Yeah.
So that had a huge impact
Yes.
on your decision.
Yes.
Were you considering anybody else before that?
Yeah, what was that other guy? Spadea.
You were considering. What turned you off? Just the endorsement?
Just the endorsement.
Just the endorsement.
Knowing that he thinks the same way as Trump, and yeah, we're good to go.
We're supporting Bill because Bill has the same mindset as we do. Bill wants Doge for our state, we want Doge for our county. He's a great family man, he has a wonderful wife, he's just a great guy, and I think he's going to make an excellent, excellent governor.
Speaking for my mother and a couple other senior citizens that are retired, they get their plastic bags back day one.
We want our taxes lower with our seniors.
Stuart's going.
Stewart is also going.
Yes.
Going for Stewart.
Yes.
All right, Stewart.
I put as much tax money into the economy as anybody else.
Clearly, both sides are passionate, but passionate really isn't enough. Whoever wins, the real challenge is November. That is the real challenge. We reached out to Jack's campaign for a one-on-one, just like we did with Bill. His team was very polite, but they passed. I totally get it. They're running a tight ship and basically just being cautious. I learned the word over the weekend. I learned the word tracker. They had to verify that they could trust me. They had to make sure maybe I wasn't working for the opposition, trying to slip them up, trying to trip them up. I completely understand. We had some people on the inside that know me, that know that I'm fair, that know that I really just wanted to get a fair take from Jack and his retort. They weren't able to get me the interview. That's totally fine. We completely understand. We do want to thank them, though, for inviting us to their campaign events. They were very gracious. They were very nice. Maybe we'll get to do something in the general. Jack, I'm looking forward to sitting down with you and asking you some fair questions. So please, maybe sometime in the future, that would be great. However, we're so lucky to have a very good friend of ours working for the Bill Spadea campaign. I just want to give you a shout out, Danielle. Thank you so much. Danielle Compatiello, okay? You worked some magic to get us in there. We did get a one-on-one with Bill. We're going to show you that now. We got an exclusive sit-down with him, and he's going to break it down. This was a little more of an intimate setting. We got a one-on-one, and I asked him the tough questions, and you can judge the answers. So see for yourself. We're very excited to sit down with him. Thank you very much. And here it is. So just to start off the interview, we were talking about the polarization. And people are very passionate. There's a lot of mud being slung between campaign staffers and all that stuff. A lot of strife between the candidates as well. I was asking him about the polarization, and this is what he had to say.
I have so many friends on this side, I have so many friends on that side.
Scott, I mean, first of all, it's heated in part because Jack is desperate now in his third run. He's desperate because he's been running for 9 years. He has spent $30 million in the 9 years. And his entire campaign was about bashing me. So he spent $6 million in just the last 6 months attacking me. And by the way, everybody, he's lying about it. He lied about my position on the life issue. He lied about my position on immigration. How did they lie? They cut clips out of context. Remember, I've got 15,000 hours available online that you can find of everything I've said on any issue. Very easy to isolate that to 25 seconds, 26 seconds, and lie about it. So that's number one. My campaign from the beginning has been about issues. I'm the only one that is consistently, if you look at all three debates, I offer detailed policy solutions, whether it's flood mitigation, whether it's how we empower our teachers, how we restore cost of living adjustment to our public unions, all of these things in detail. And Jack does not offer any detail. Instead, he offers talking points. I'll give you a clear example. This is why when you see the different signs, go drive through again. Here's what you'll notice. In the towns where we're strong, my signs are on lawns of private homes. Most of Jack's signs you see are on public property, and that's a big distinction between the two of us because I'm a grassroots campaigner. You know, when I started this political journey, and I had run for office before, I go back to 2004.
You ran for assembly, right?
I ran for Congress in 2004, and I ran in a special convention, which was just insiders, in 2012. So those are my two experiences in public running. But when I ran for Congress, I was the only Republican that stepped up to run in the 3-1 Democratic district. So my opponent, funny, calls me a two-time loser after he has just lost 2 statewide races, one in 17 and one in 21. The differences between me and Jack are as different as me and the Democrats. Jack Ciattarelli voted to allow men to change their birth certificates to pretend that they're a woman. I mean, think about that. He bought into the entire trans cult, and that is what's led to men invading women's spaces. That was Jack's vote. Jack not only voted to increase your income tax, but in 2017, he actively campaigned as a part of his plan to lower property taxes would include a hike in the income tax. We ought to be talking about eliminating the income tax, not raising it. Jack actively, to this day, and he said it on stage again, supports driver's licenses for illegals. Now, when you think about an illegal driving a car, what do you think is leading to the uninsured motorists that have flooded our roads and the cost of your insurance going up? Not only that, but we know that driver's licenses are a pathway to voting because if you go to MVC, they give you a voter registration form. So on illegals, he's wrong. On the life issue, you can be pro-life, pro-choice. Big difference, though, with a Republican and Jack Ciattarelli, who has pledged to continue funding Planned Parenthood. So I submit that Jack Ciattarelli is as liberal as the 6 Democrats running for governor right now.
That's a strong,
it's a lot
statement.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Well,
but I would encourage people to watch the debates.
So another one of the questions that we asked Bill, because it was a great concern of ours, as he's labeling himself, as he's branding himself as the anti-establishment candidate, some of the concern from some of the people that I've been speaking to who are supporters of his, and the ones that aren't supporting him because that this is a concern, is that they're worried about campaign finance if he does win the primary. As the anti-establishment candidate, will he be able to pull from the establishment GOP the help and the resources that he's going to need to support a campaign in the general? This is what he had to say.
You're dealing with somebody like Josh Gottheimer who's starting off with like a $10 million purchase.
How
do we get help from the GOP?
So we're going to get outspent, no question about it. However, if you look at the history in New Jersey, Republicans are almost always outspent. And they've won or come very close to winning being outspent. Bob Franks, running for the U.S. Senate against John Corzine, was outspent 8 or 9 to 1. He raised a couple of $1 million. Corzine had 65 or 66 million. It was about message. For me, it's about message. My message is a populist common sense message, which involves creating new manufacturing jobs, implementing school choice. And by the way, doing all this through executive orders, because my opponent Jack will tell you you're going to wait for a Republican legislature, and he brags about having coattails. He's lying about that too, because he was actively against Ed Durr and his running mates in 2021 when Jack lost to Murphy, inexcusable, and Ed Durr and his assembly running mates won against Steve Sweeney. So there's a lot of misinformation that Jack has put out there, but I've got a specific plan. And I've outlined it. You're talking about how do we unify, how do we bring the money in, how do we go toe-to-toe with the Democrats?
Well, the unification, I'm going to get there. Let's stick to the campaign, or we can stick to the assembly. If you win the governorship, let's get back to the assembly.
All right. So
is it 27?
20. Well, the assembly is up in 25. The assembly and the Senate are up in 27. I believe we can flip both in 27. But only if we have a governor with the bold leadership
to use the executive order and emergency powers to have proof of concept for the voters.
They're going out and they're branding you as a radio show host, that you don't have like to go and now deal with the politics. So do you think you'll be able to go there and conjoin with the establishment types and, the politicians? And
Don't need to. Don't need to. It's the people that matter. First of all, I'm the only one who has served our country on the Republican side. Number one. But it's an important contrast. Right? I served in the Marine Corps, but I've also, and they don't talk about this, I am not a professional politician. I'm actually the only outsider. Radio host is my most recent job. I also built a film company from the ground up. I also spent 2 decades.
I just learned that today, by the way. I didn't know that.
But I also spent 2 decades in the private sector building businesses. I worked for Jim Whitehead for a long time, building our franchises. When I joined the company, we had about 200 offices. By the time I left, we had more than 600 offices around the country. So I'm the only one that's actually managed millions of dollars on a P&L. Thousands and thousands of agents are in our sales force, open businesses, then balance my own budget. So I would argue I'm the only one with the business experience. Jack and John combined have 80 years in politics. 80 years. And I don't. That's a big distinction. It's not about bringing in the current powers that be. It is about building a new movement. So Scott, this is a very important point. That to this point in our Republican history, go back 30 years, the way the Republican insiders stay in charge is by subtraction. They keep you out. They keep me out. They keep Linda out, Harmon out, Joe out, Jim Ciattarelli out. They push people away. You heard Linda talk about, or Harmon talk about that Jack and the current chair in Bergen are having exclusive events before the primary. Now think about how terrible that is. You're the chairman of the Bergen County Republicans, and you are actively, with one candidate for governor, excluding local primary candidates. That is, Jack DiLorenzo should resign just on that. Bob Hugin should have been fired a long time ago at the state party. My job is I'm going to come in and say, how do we win this primary? Well, the only way I'm going to win this primary is to do what I do best, and that is appeal to normal people.
How's it looking? You feeling good about it?
I feel fantastic. Remember, my audience was huge among Democrats and independents, and they weren't Democrats and independents because I was throwing them liberal talking points. No, they were there saying, wait, that makes sense. Common sense, practical solutions. So we're going to do the reverse. We're going to rebuild the party. We're going to fill county committee seats with common sense-minded populists who are normal people, not professional politicos that get their marching orders from lobbyists and guys that have been in business 40 years. I'm very, very different. I want to empower the cop, the nurse, the teacher, the business owner. I want to empower the student, the Uber Eats driver, the truck driver, the plumber, the electrician, the pipe fitter, the roofer, the iron worker, all the guys that have been excluded from the process. Remember, 90% of people don't vote in primaries. So you get this tiny group of people that vote in primaries, and then we get stuck with the lesser of two evils. There'll be no nose holding when I am the nominee, because we're going to have a groundswell of independent thinkers who are going to jump up and say, we have a real opportunity to elect a leader.
Came to a point in the interview where I had to touch on something that was very sensitive. Bill Spadea did not get the endorsement from Trump after establishing himself as the anti-establishment candidate, as the one who was very pro-Trump, as the MAGA candidate. Most of his supporters, they're the ones with the most flair. They're the ones that are very Trump-like. They wear the shirts, they wear the caps. They're all out there. They're very MAGA. So the fact that he did not get the Trump endorsement probably hurt. And we needed to touch on that. I had to ask him about that and how it impacted his campaign. To me, to be quite honest with you, I was actually very surprised that Trump even went out to endorse anybody, especially during such a passionate primary where there's a lot of polarization. It didn't make sense to me why he would do it. I'm still trying to calculate why. This isn't anything against Jack. I'm just trying to say, I really didn't get it, especially like right at the end. There's something there. I can't put my finger on it, but he did what he did. And this is how Bill's campaign is dealing with.
Let me just ask you a couple more questions, because I know you're running short on time. We have to touch on, and I know it's tough, the Trump endorsement that went to Jack. That had to hit hard probably in the campaign because you did establish yourself as the anti-establishment. And to your credit, a lot of your supporters, they doubled down, they came out for you, they were going and telling Trump he made a mistake. How's that impacted you in the campaign?
Believe it or not, in a very positive way. So I told the story earlier tonight that the night I found out, it felt like, that's a tough hit. Because I am still the only Trump candidate in the race. Jack is a liar. Jack spent 8 years hating Trump. Now to curry favor because he looked at the same polls we looked at. He's like, oh, I better be a Trump guy now. Two things happened. Number one, we were flooded with small dollar donations and volunteers in the time after Trump endorsed. Those first 2 days after were the best 2 campaign days we've had. And it's holding. So our groundswell, in part, is because Donald Trump is 0 for 4 in endorsements. If you look at Doug Mastriano, Mehmet Oz, Don Purdy, Christine Glasner, all endorsed by Trump in the last couple of years, all went down in defeat. Why? Because Republican Trump voters are not just box checkers. They weren't waiting for Trump to tell them to vote for him. They're like, who's the most Trump-like candidate? And that's me, no question about it. So it hurt because I wanted the endorsement. I make no bones about that. I wanted it. I'm disappointed.
Have you spoken to him?
Well, I spoke to Donald Trump before the endorsement, and let me be very clear with your audience and everyone here. It is clear Donald Trump is not over the fact that I disagreed with him during COVID. We met at Bedminster and we had a lengthy discussion, and he not only leaned in and asked me, why do you beat me up on the air? He asked a friend of mine within earshot, why do you beat me up on the air? The answer is, I didn't beat him up on the air. I disagreed with him.
Sure.
I didn't disrespect him like Jack did for almost a decade. I disagreed. And I don't know if Donald Trump is waiting for me to apologize for those disagreements, but I stand my ground. I stood firm. And I believe I'm right. And I think a lot of you agree with me. He should have fired Fauci. He should have mobilized the military to shut down Black Lives Matter. He should have eradicated the deep state the first term, and he most likely would have had a second term. So the issue for me is the people of New Jersey, especially Republicans who are voting in this primary, you need a governor and a nominee who will have the courage to stand up to even Donald Trump, who we all support, when he's wrong on an issue.
Well, like I said, to your credit, your supporters are diehard. And actually, I want to say something. Your supporters have the best flair. I mean, when I go around, I see the cars, I see the hats, I see they're all in, man. It reminds me of Trump's 2016
It's
campaign.
grassroots.
So,
and remember, in 2016, what was it, a 99% chance that Trump was going to lose?
Yeah, I don't believe the polls. You know, so everybody's going to stay in it. I'm getting the eyeballs. I know we got to wrap up. So I just want to ask you 1 or 2 last questions. Look, now that we're at the end of the primary, and I've been to Jack's campaign also, and I've spoken to some of his supporters. Some of them are so diehard, just like yours. I was talking to a guy on Thursday in Fairlawn. He said, if Jack doesn't win, he is not voting. He's not coming out. Do you have any sort of unifying message that you could send to those voters, okay, to bring everybody together so we can all bury the hatchet and move forward?
Yes, we as Republicans have to support the right ideas that are the foundation of our party. We are lost when we start compromising with the woke Democrats, and Jack has an entire career of compromising with the woke Democrats. If he's our nominee, we're going to lose again in November. And the reason we're going to lose is because he cannot run from his liberal, tax-raising, pro-illegal immigration stances, pro-trans cult. I mean, all these things, he can't run from it. What I would say to you as a voter is this. Don't wait for the unity breakfast of all of the different candidates, because that doesn't get votes. Ask yourself, what is better for the state of New Jersey? What is better for the state? That an outsider Marine comes in on day one to disrupt the status quo, or the Democrats take office? And I believe most of Jack's supporters will end up voting for me on election day in November. Some won't, but most of them will, based on the ideas.
But whoever the nominee is going to be, are we committed to supporting red?
That question is better asked of Jack Ciattarelli, because Jack didn't want my support and didn't want President Trump's support in 2021.
All right, Bill. All right. Hey, look, we thank you so much for your time. Bill Spadea, you want to just give a last plug or final
look,
message?
guys, go to the website. It's Spadea, Spadea FOR Governor, SpadeaForGovernor.com. Understand that my opponent, in his desperate third attempt to become governor, has spent $6 million trashing me. It's all lies and out of context. I'm the guy that's fighting for you. I've been married 30 years to my wife, Jody. We've got 2 great kids and a great son-in-law. I left my media career to be unemployed as a candidate for governor because I believe that strongly that I'm the only one with the plan, the message, and the ability to beat the Democrats and restore common sense, affordability, public safety, and accountability in government when I win in November. So join this team. It's a movement.
All right, so there you have it, guys. I know it was a little tough with the audio because we had so much background noise. There were a lot of people there at that event, and it was in a restaurant. We did the best that we could cleaning up the audio. But look, in the end, this is bigger than Bill. This is bigger than Jack. We got to rally behind whoever wins in the general. This is basically where I'm coming from. Primaries are good. We love our primaries. Primaries are necessary. We have to battle test who we want to lead us into November. It's very important we get the right candidate and we make the right decision. So again, do us a favor, drop a comment, tell us who you're supporting and why. But my message to everybody is, in the end, after this primary is over, we have to bury the hatchet. We got to put the sour grapes aside, and we have to come together in November, because together we are stronger. Divided, we are weaker. Period. Get over yourself. You got to get over it. Get your tissues. Get over it. Come back. We got to all come together, and we got to take back New Jersey.
Hey guys, Bill Spadea here. Listen, you got to subscribe to Scott's podcast. This is a great podcast, and if you enjoyed this episode, you're going to enjoy all of them, because I can tell you I've done a lot of media in my last 12-year career in entertainment, media, news, etc. This is a great format because Scott doesn't leave you with the questions. He actually legitimately wanted to hear my answer. So if you're looking for unfiltered conversation, you've got to like and follow Scott's podcast. This is the real deal.
Thank you. Bill Spadea, ladies and gentlemen.
See you guys.
Bill Spadea, thank you so much for the plug. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for the time. You were very gracious to give it to us. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you fighting for New Jersey. Jack, we would love to get some time with you also. Please, if you have any, we're willing to come to you. To everybody else out there listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, drop a comment. Tell us who you're supporting. Tell us why. We'd like to know. And we're looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this June 10th. Get out there, vote. We're at the end. We're going to see who it's going to be. Is it going to be Jack? Is it going to be Bill? Who knows? We'll see. But get out there and vote. Make your voices heard. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Again, this is your incorrigible host saying we'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, ScottLoia.com. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.